In the late 1800s, scientists from all around the world were in a great race of discovery. Their prize was to find the remains of the biggest animals ever to walk the earth. This race would come to be known as the Bone Wars. One paleontologist to come after the Bone Wars was Earl Douglas.
Earl Douglas was in eastern Utah. He had been interested in fossils since he was 15 years old, and now he was hired by Andrew Carnegie to find big dinosaurs for the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Earl believed he could find dinosaur fossils from the Jurassic period in eastern Utah because no one else had looked there yet.
To help us figure out why Earl thought he could find dinosaur fossils in Utah, we went to the Natural History Museum of Utah to talk to a paleontologist. This is Carolyn Levitt. She is the paleontology collections manager here.
So Utah is a great place for finding dinosaurs because there are very many different aged rocks in Utah that are actually exposed at the surface. So if you look at a geologic map of Utah, you can actually see it's very colorful. And so we have rocks that are from the Jurassic, the Triassic, the Cretaceous, the Pleistocene, everything in Utah, which makes Utah a wonderful place. And not only do we have the rocks here, but they're actually exposed at the surface, which makes them easier to find.
Another reason why Earl Douglas thought that Utah would be a good place is because a dinosaur had already been discovered here. Dicerphis was discovered in 1859 by John Newberry in the Survey of Utah. Edward Denker Cope named it Dicerphis in 1877. Now paleontologists are excavating it today, over 150 years after it was discovered. It is the oldest sauropod in North America. Earl wasn't just looking anywhere. He was looking for a layer of dirt that was laid down during the Jurassic period called the Morrison Formation. The Morrison Formation is a layer of dirt, rock, and earth. The Morrison Formation goes from New Mexico to Saskatchewan and from Utah to Nebraska. It was formed millions of years ago when North America was divided in two.
It had an ocean actually right in the middle of North America, and it made two other continents. This is in the Cretaceous, Laramidia and Appalachia. So Appalachia being the east coast and Laramidia being the west coast. Flash forward to the Pleistocene, we have the Ice Age, and the ice actually comes and bulldozes the land that's in the east coast and just destroys any dinosaurs that could have been there. And so there's not a lot of dinosaurs in the east coast. Nebraska and Canada area is where the ocean was. And so it doesn't have any dinosaurs in there because they're ocean animals, marine creatures. So you just have Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Idaho, and Utah having where the dinosaurs were.
The site that the Morrison Formation was on is called Laramidia.
Layers of earth are formed when sediments pile up on top of each other. These sediments get there by wind and water. To help show how the layers build up and trap dead dinosaurs, we are going to make a sandwich.
Jelly, peanut butter, bread, dinosaur. Each ingredient of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich are like one layer of sediment. Over millions of years, the layers build up. When dinosaurs would die, the remains of their bodies would be covered by the next layer of sediments. These layers of sediment turned to rock, and the dinosaur bones were buried for millions of years.
Over a long time, earthquakes and erosion exposed the fossil again, just like cutting the peanut butter and jelly sandwich in half shows the tail of the dinosaur again. In 1908, Earl Douglas found a thigh bone from a Diplodocus near Vernal, Utah. In 1909, Earl went back to find more bones, but he quickly began to lose hope because he could not find any more good bones. He only found smaller broken bones. Earl decided to look in a different location next to where he had already looked. he found what he was looking for. This is what he said about his discovery. At last, in the top of the ledge, I saw 8 tailbones of an Apatosaurus in exact position. It was a beautiful sight. Earl had discovered a place that had thousands of dinosaur bones. He worked for 13 years digging up bones for the Carnegie Museum until the museum had enough bones. Over the next 2 years, he helped the National Museum and the University of Utah collect dinosaur bones.
While Earl was excavating in the quarry, he had a good idea. He wanted to leave the bones where they were so people could look at them. President Woodrow Wilson named it Dinosaur National Monument in 1915. Dinosaur National Monument goes from Utah to Colorado. In 1957, a building was built on the quarry to protect the dinosaur remains and to give people a view of where the fossils really were. Carrie Levitt told us one of the things that make the quarry exhibit at Dinosaur National Monument so awesome.
Actually, dinosaurs, when we find them, are found flat because the Earth is flat, and the Earth in terms of layers of rock. But what's really amazing is at Dinosaur National Monument there was uplift, and it made it into a wall. So all these dinosaur bones have been uplifted to a wall. And so if people are excavating there, they actually have to climb up a ladder to excavate them, which is kind of crazy, right? But that place is amazing.
After a while, there was a problem at the quarry. The building started to collapse because of the water and the rocks. In 2006, it was closed so it could be fixed, and it reopened in 2011.
The story of Earl Douglas has inspired many paleontologists to keep looking, even today. Remember we told you earlier about the Dystrophius that is now being excavated over 150 years after its discovery? Here is the team that is digging it up. Guess who's on that team? That's right, Carolyn Levitt. This is how she explains it.
And we found it again, and we actually excavated more fossils. And what's really interesting is that we found it again. This is now a historic site in addition to being a natural historic site. And it's really great. It's National Geographic funded. We have helicopters. It's pretty interesting because it's an important site. It's historic, but half of the dinosaur fossils are in Yale, I think, and then half of them are here. So eventually one day we would like to take them and have them all be together so you can write up the manuscript and stuff, and then we'll bring our half back and they can keep their half. And that happens a lot. Like the Cleveland Lloyd specimens, half are here, but they're all over the world. And that's just kind of what happens in history when many people discover things.
One thing that we have learned from Earl Douglas is that you should always hold on to your dreams and never give up, no matter how hard things get. We are inspired by his discovery of most complete Apatosaurus ever found. Earl had been interested in dinosaurs since he was 15 years old, and he went on to find one of the best dinosaur quarries in the world.
Sandwich.